The girl confessed her feelings to her senior. To her surprise, the senior lifted her shirt, revealing, "Actually, I'm a senior boy." Saki thought, "Isn't that even better? I get to enjoy both the boy and girl versions of my senior. One husband, double the happiness." Ever since Makoto received that note, he knew something would happen after school today. Still, he chose to wait in the classroom for Saki. Finally, Saki rushed in, breathing heavily, explaining she was late because of an exam. Makoto didn't even remember who this junior was. Saki introduced herself, then confessed passionately, and showered Makoto with praises. The senior's gentle eyes, tall figure, and slightly deep voice all attracted Saki. Makoto didn't respond directly, but first asked her if she liked girls. Saki didn't like girls. She just liked Makoto, the senior. Facing such sincere feelings, Makoto had no choice but to open his shirt, pull off his wig, and reveal his true identity. He was actually a boy. Instead of being put off, Saki became even more excited, even spraying a nosebleed. Makoto didn't expect this reaction, and quickly handed her a handkerchief to wipe it off. But his next words made Saki's heart sink. Makoto felt that even if they dated, he wouldn't fall for Saki. So he never gave her any hope from the start. Saki accepted the outcome, but was not ready to give up, telling Makoto to be prepared, as she would definitely become his first love. Saki's words stirred Makoto's heart, making him think of this junior even during class. He didn't think he would develop romantic feelings for Saki, perhaps due to past experiences. And for Saki's sake, Makoto couldn't get too close to her. Unfortunately, she was a junior with no sense of distance, rushing to find him right after school. Makoto had no choice but to hide and avoid seeing her. During PE, Makoto effortlessly dribbled past someone and scored a basket. His dashing performance charmed many male classmates. They all knew Makoto was a cross-dresser and just joked about it. When Makoto approached, they walked away, except for Saki, the naive younger student from his class. While her class was having art, she eagerly talked to Makoto, who just wanted to keep his distance. He told Saki that the juniors and seniors knew he was a boy, and getting too close might make others think she was odd. Saki looked hurt, not because she might be isolated, but she thought this was a secret between her and her senior. Why did others know as well? Makoto found her innocence amusing, which relaxed him. After school, Saki gave him a new handkerchief embroidered with a small dolphin. Makoto was charmed, but before he could take it, the wind blew it onto a tree. Remembering his mother's words that it was for girls, he hesitated. Then Saki quickly climbed the tree to retrieve it. When she landed, Makoto saw her in a new light. He took the handkerchief, removed leaves from her hair, and promised to cherish it. Saki wished he meant cherishing her, or even turning her into a handkerchief. Unnoticed, a shady peer was watching them. The next morning, that boy cornered Saki, questioning her intentions toward Makoto. When Makoto saw them, he intervened. Saki was shocked, thinking her beloved senior had a boyfriend. Makoto quickly clarified it was just a childhood friend, but the boy seemed suspicious, accusing Saki of ill intentions, perhaps to prank Makoto like others before. Saki appeared guilty, but Makoto defended her and dismissed the boy Ryuji, believing in Saki. However, Ryuji suspected Saki was hiding something. He saw her acting suspiciously in the corridor, about to take something out when she noticed him and ran. Ryuji called Makoto to chase Saki and check her pocket. Reluctantly, she revealed a blood-stained handkerchief, the one from Makoto, now spoiled. Saki cried, upset it was ruined. She denied smelling the handkerchief, but neither believed her. As Ryuji left, he dropped his student ID, which Saki picked up, discovering his secret. She used this to blackmail Ryuji into returning her photos of Makoto's childhood, which she adored, much to Ryuji's disgust. Saki suddenly changed her tone and asked Ryuji if he also liked Makoto. It was initially a casual question, but Ryuji's reaction suggested he truly did. Saki clearly didn't believe his denial and challenged him, saying if he didn't like Makoto, then he should give her all the photos. At that moment, Makoto approached, and Saki rushed to greet him, but was quickly silenced by Ryuji covering her mouth. Makoto saw their interaction and couldn't help but smile bitterly before walking away. After he left, Ryuji warned Saki that despite Makoto's dressing style, he didn't do it to attract attention. If she approached him in public, it would worry him. Saki remembered Makoto mentioning this before and quickly called Ryuji master, asking for advice on how to get along with Makoto. She sensed a good relationship between Ryuji and Makoto. Ryuji, feeling flattered, spilled many details about Makoto. They had been together since kindergarten. Ryuji used to think of ways to tease Makoto, who never cried no matter the prank. Once during hide-and-seek, Ryuji locked himself in a cabinet and couldn't escape, but Makoto, in tears, rescued him, worried about what would happen if he couldn't find him. That moment deeply touched Ryuji, and they have been close friends ever since. As a good friend, Ryuji took it upon himself to protect Makoto, getting angry whenever someone bothered him. Moved by Ryuji's words, Saki decided never to oppose her master again. Meanwhile, Makoto was pondering why Saki could have developed feelings for him. Suddenly, he heard the teacher mention forgetting some materials and asked the duty boy to fetch them. Makoto stood up, noticing the teacher's awkward expression, which saddened him. Below, the naive junior girl shouted, inviting him on a date today, only to be scolded by the teacher. Seeing her saddened look, Makoto offered a knowing smile and told the teacher he would get the materials. Saki, however, felt guilty. She knew she shouldn't talk to Makoto in public, as her master had advised, but she couldn't help herself. Unbeknownst to her, her smile had rescued Makoto from an awkward situation. After school, Makoto said goodbye to Ryuji and went alone to the equipment room. There, he changed out of his girl's clothes into boy's clothes, temporarily locking away his true self in this small room. Makoto was never interested in the things typical boys liked from a young age. Instead, he liked pink, a color most girls preferred. His mother told him that pink was for girls and gave him a blue bag. However, Makoto secretly longed for beautiful high heels and skirts. One day, he was eating on the rooftop with Ryuji when Saki suddenly appeared, insisting on joining them. Seeing Makoto biting his chopsticks made her heart flutter. With summer vacation approaching and the thought of not seeing Makoto during the break, Saki felt sad and took the opportunity to ask to add him as a friend. Makoto couldn't refuse the pleading look, akin to a puppy's, and reluctantly agreed. Ryuji also added her casually. Hearing that she could only contact Makoto every 2 or 3 days, Saki converted this to 72 hours and prepared to set alarms to disturb him. Just then, Makoto remembered he had to go to the office. Saki handed him a pair of chopsticks and waited expectantly to be fed. To escape to the office quickly, Makoto reluctantly fed Saki a small octopus sausage. Watching her bite down, Makoto felt his heart stir and quickly fled in panic. Ryuji, watching this, was stunned, but wouldn't admit he was jealous of Saki. Saki, taking advantage of the situation, asked Ryuji to help her pursue her love. Thinking of Makoto's rare smile, Ryuji agreed, not denying his own feelings for Makoto, but feeling different from Saki's. After all, he thought it strange for a boy to like another boy. On the last day of the first term, after the principal's speech, Saki couldn't wait to find Makoto and wanted to walk home with him. However, Makoto harshly rejected her. Ryuji, having promised to help Saki, let her deliver a notebook to Makoto's house. Makoto had already changed into boy's clothes by the time he got home. He deliberately acted like a boy because his mother preferred it. Thus, he could only be himself at school. Back in his room, he realized he had forgotten his notebook, but found the pink handkerchief Saki had given him instead. This is trouble, he thought, knowing it couldn't be found by his mom. He had agreed not to bring cute things home, yet he really liked this handkerchief and hid it under his bed. At home, he felt constrained, constantly reminding himself to act like a boy. Unexpectedly, Saki showed up at his door to deliver the notebook. His mother was thrilled, excited that her son had brought a girl home. She welcomed Saki warmly and immediately asked when they had started dating. Saki honestly admitted she was not dating Makoto, but had a crush on him. His mother immediately took Saki's side and began inquiring about her son's school life. Makoto, not wanting his mother to learn about him dressing as a girl at school, quickly interrupted them. Using the excuse that it was late and he needed to take Saki home, they left together. This was Saki's first time seeing Makoto in these clothes, giving her a real sense of him as a boy. Makoto explained his situation to Saki, who immediately reflected on whether she had said anything inappropriate. She then complimented him, saying he was great no matter the appearance, which unwittingly made Makoto's heart flutter. They then bumped into Ryuji, who had brought fireworks, and invited them to a display. The three had a pleasant evening. Seizing the good moment, Saki courageously asked Makoto if they could meet outside school again. Unable to refuse, they planned another outing to the swimming pool. At the pool, where light clothing was necessary, Saki covered her eyes, pleading with Makoto to zip up his attire as he had left his zipper undone. Ryuji, influenced by Saki, blushed and missed a volleyball when he saw Makoto's bare chest. He reminded Makoto to zip up to avoid unwanted attention, though he was hardly one to talk. A week later, Saki went to Kamakura with her family and came back tanned. She brought souvenirs for Makoto and Ryuji. Makoto was thrilled by the cute gifts, but Ryuji's was more casual. Summer vacation was ending soon. Makoto looked forward to the new term because of the school festival where he could wear his favorite clothes and enjoy good food. Saki also became excited. Last year, Makoto missed the festival due to illness. Just thinking about wearing a beautiful lace dress excited him. He snapped back to reality, worried Saki might find him disgusting. Instead, both smiled warmly at him and kindly reminded him not to get sick this year. Makoto felt more comfortable around Saki. One eagerly wanted to wear a dress, and the other two were eager to see Makoto in it, already fantasizing. Saki slammed the table and suggested they shop for dresses for their seniors together. Unable to resist Saki's compelling suggestion and the thought of freely buying cute items, Makoto agreed. After parting, he ran to a stationery store to buy a cute ornament that matched the penguin Saki had given him. Penguins. That evening, the three agreed to go shopping in Harajuku the next day. Makoto dressed as a girl, and right at the station, a man flirted with him, calling him the cutest girl he'd ever seen. Makoto happily responded, and the man thought he had a chance, but Makoto walked past him to Ryuji and Saki, who were dazzled by Makoto's appearance. They hurried to a clothing store. Makoto was mesmerized by the beautiful dresses. Saki picked several for him to try. The first was an adorable pink dress. Makoto was so nervous he could sweat. Saki, who tried a blue dress, was too petite to fill it out. Then Makoto, sneaking a peek, came out and instantly captivated Ryuji, who had to remind himself that Makoto was a boy. Next, they went to a dessert shop. Everything looked cute to Makoto, who excitedly asked Ryuji which one he wanted. Ryuji felt his heart race again and volunteered to buy ice cream to cool down. They also visited a high heel store. Makoto had always wanted to wear high heels, but they were indeed challenging. He could hardly walk in them, yet still found them adorable. After shopping for half the day, the trio found a restaurant. Makoto ordered the cutest cat-shaped omelet rice, too cute to eat. Turning around, Ryuji had already finished his meal. In the afternoon, they visited a beauty store. Today, Makoto could finally be himself without restraint, as Ryuji and Saki wouldn't mock or give him malicious looks. Unbeknownst to them, danger was approaching. At home, Makoto's mother entered his room and started cleaning up the mess. The shopping day for the three ended. Makoto regretted not dressing as a girl earlier and having more fun. Saki suggested they could go out again, but this time Makoto refused without hesitation. After saying goodbye to Saki, Makoto couldn't help but thank Ryuji for always being willing to be his friend. He then went back to school alone to change clothes, savoring the day's joy on his way home. However, he arrived to find his house dark. Turning on the light, he saw a pink handkerchief in front of his mother. She turned to him and demanded, "What is this?" What a horror movie opening this is. After a whole day of fun, the feminine senior returned home to find his mother sitting at the table with a stern face, a pink handkerchief on the table. She asked him what it was. Makoto, feigning calm, casually told his mom it belonged to a junior named Saki, whom he had borrowed it from and forgotten to return. His mother then relaxed, crying as she hugged him, pleading with him not to worry her anymore. From when Makoto was little, his mother had always hoped he would be like other boys, not liking pink things and being more boisterous. Thus, Makoto learned to read the room from a young age. Whenever he eyed beautiful dresses, he would quickly shut the wardrobe upon hearing his mother's voice. Once, a female classmate gave him a cute pink eraser, which he cherished, but his mother saw it, along with him wearing a dress. She broke down, calling Makoto strange and rejecting his touch, crying incessantly thereafter. Makoto asked his father what to do. His father wondered if he wanted to be a girl, but Makoto himself was unsure. Fortunately, his father was understanding and helped him transfer to his current high school, where Makoto could live as he pleased, of course keeping it a secret from his mother. Thus, Makoto split himself in two. However, recalling the day's happy moments with friends, he felt content, promising his mother he would no longer worry her, and decided to let everything end there. The next day, he surprisingly went to school dressed as a boy, instantly turning from the school beauty to the school hunk. Students from other classes couldn't help but come and watch. Ryuji, hearing this, hurried over, shocked to see Makoto no longer wearing dresses. At lunch, Saki was so stunned she couldn't speak. Hearing Makoto say he would never wear a dress again, Saki looked disappointed, called him a big fool, and ran away crying. Ryuji chose to respect Makoto's decision, thinking Saki was just startled and would soon come around. Makoto comforted himself with this thought, but Ryuji's feelings were actually quite conflicted. Despite being able to be good friends with Makoto, why did he feel something was off? After switching back to male clothes, Makoto no longer received sideways glances from other students. Everyone stopped avoiding him, and the basketball team even invited him to join. Previously, Makoto had shown his basketball skills, and many were eager for his contact information. However, Saki no longer approached him until a week later when she seriously asked if they could walk home together. After some hesitation, she accused him of lying, breaking down as she spoke. Makoto insisted he was serious and even boldly asked if Saki would date him, as it wouldn't seem odd now. He planned to be the normal boy his mother wanted him to be, but Saki refused, unwilling to see Makoto suppress his true desires and live a lie. She ran off after speaking her mind. A week passed, and Ryuji, unable to stand by, sought out Saki. She still insisted Makoto was lying, claiming a woman's intuition, especially recalling the day they went out, and Makoto's reaction to a beautiful dress. She knew the sparkle in his eyes was genuine, but felt powerless to influence his decision, leaving her torn. She believed something must have happened for Makoto to suddenly want to date her. Ryuji reacted strongly upon hearing this, but regained composure, relieved that Saki was only focused on Makoto and hadn't noticed his reaction. Meanwhile, another girl was showing interest in Makoto, inviting him to dance with her. This reminded Makoto of an upcoming party. He planned to wear his father's suit, realizing he couldn't wear the beautiful dress he had bought. Remembering Saki's smile that day, Makoto momentarily wavered but quickly reaffirmed his decision. He couldn't regret his choices or disappoint his mother. After school, Makoto prepared to clear out his secret space. He threw cosmetics, wigs, and skirts into a bag. He smashed them with a large metal cabinet, including a small ornament he had bought. He also ripped the skirts. Regretting his purchases, he questioned himself internally. "You're clearly a boy." After disposing of everything in a garbage bag, Makoto said goodbye. Farewell, the real me. From today, he was determined to become normal. On the day of the party, his mother joyfully gave him a suit, mentioning she had also placed something in the pocket. Makoto was puzzled, but didn't ask. At the party, Saki and Ryuji stuck together, uninterested in mingling, and just wanted to eat. They accidentally made eye contact with Makoto, who was about to dance with a girl from that day. Ryuji urged Saki to make up with Makoto. Saki said she would wait until she figured out a way to get the truth from her senior. The next second, she saw Makoto going to dance with the girl and quickly asked Ryuji who she was, fearing heartbreak. Ryuji told her they probably weren't dating yet, giving Saki immediate hope. She then told Ryuji that if he dated the senior, she might give up. Ryuji said that couldn't be possible, then invited Saki to enjoy the party, and she got excited immediately. Watching a junior girl energetic in front of her good friend, Makoto zoned out. A classmate brought him back by complimenting her hairstyle. The girl replied it was a wig because she thought Makoto might like long hair. Makoto couldn't help showing a longing look but quickly forced those thoughts away. While the girl went to the restroom, he pulled out a pink handkerchief his mother had put in his pocket, the last cute item he had, which he also planned to discard. However, the junior girl's smiling face suddenly came to mind, and Makoto found it hard to let go. He just wanted to like what he liked, so why suppress himself? When the girl returned, Makoto immediately asked to borrow the wig. Outside, Ryuji and Saki, full from eating, were resting when they saw the school janitor collecting trash. Saki noticed a pair of red high heels in the bag. Those were her seniors. Without a second thought, she chased after them, sure they were his special item. Meanwhile, Makoto put on the wig. Although it didn't match his outfit, he still faced his true self. As Saki chased the garbage truck, she inwardly cursed the foolish senior. Although not very bright, she could tell he was lying. She hoped Makoto wouldn't pretend to like her when he didn't, because liking someone is something you can see right away. Saki wanted to be the one Makoto truly liked, which is why she cherished his special item. When Makoto asked Ryuji where Saki was, she had already run far away. Hearing this, Makoto immediately chased after her. Eventually, he found Saki on the roadside, holding a garbage bag. Clutching the handkerchief Saki had given him, he shouted his true feelings. "I love cute things the most." Before Saki could react, Makoto blurted out everything. He preferred sailor suits over boys' uniforms and liked dresses and high heels too. Although he had thought about giving up many times because it seemed strange for a boy to like cute things, Makoto wanted to continue loving what he truly loved. Saki hadn't given up on the real him, so how could he give up on himself first? After his outburst, Makoto ran down to her. Unable to hold back, he jumped in front of Saki, who then complimented him, saying he looked prettier this way. She then pulled out the high heels from the garbage bag. Makoto couldn't contain himself anymore and rushed to hug his junior, thanking her for protecting his special item. Taking advantage of the moment, Saki cheekily helped him put on the high heels. Although he didn't get to wear a dress, the current Makoto felt like the princess he admired, all thanks to his junior. Upon hearing his regret, the junior immediately took off her own dress and, with a nosebleed, urged him to change into it. In the end, Makoto got his wish, while Saki put on the ill-fitting suit. But that didn't matter, as long as the dress suited Makoto. He then extended his hand, inviting Saki to dance with him. This time, Saki didn't refuse. The boy in the dress and the girl in the suit danced gracefully under the moonlight. Makoto and Saki went home wearing each other's clothes. Ryuji initially thought they had done something inappropriate. Hearing Makoto decided not to give up cross-dressing, he was relieved. Previously, Makoto seemed lifeless in men's clothes. However, Ryuji felt a strange emotion growing inside him. The next day, Makoto wore women's clothing to school again and returned a borrowed wig to a classmate. She didn't mind, and even said the clothes suited him and genuinely wanted to be friends. After they parted, Ryuji, surprised to see Makoto in a girl's school uniform, questioned him. Makoto explained that Saki had retrieved it for him, though some cute items were irretrievably lost. Seeing Makoto's smiling face, Ryuji felt an urge to kiss him, but was stopped just in time by Makoto. Ryuji secretly wished Makoto was a girl, feeling no jealousy towards others then. Wearing women's clothing again, Makoto wasn't ostracized. Ryuji missed walking home with him, but was glad they could still have lunch together. Makoto invited them to an aquarium during the holidays, contingent on Saki passing her makeup exam. Saki was embarrassed about her grades, shocked to hear Ryuji always ranked high. Makoto was called away by a male classmate, leaving Ryuji and Saki feeling lonely but looking forward to the holiday outing. At the aquarium, while Makoto and Saki were busy watching fish, Ryuji watched Makoto. Discussing where to go next, Makoto suddenly spotted a neighbor and hid. Saki, ever the social butterfly, told two ladies she was lost to distract them. Seizing the moment, Ryuji grabbed Makoto's hand, and they escaped. Both handsome and beautiful, they seemed a perfect match. Unfortunately, Makoto never considered anything romantic. He remembered holding hands with Ryuji back in elementary school. When Saki returned, Ryuji was still staring at his hand, deciding not to wash it today. Before leaving, the three visited a souvenir shop. Seeing Saki staring at a whale charm, Makoto remembered her fondness for whale-themed items and asked if she liked whales. Surprisingly, Saki quickly put the charm down and changed the subject, moving over to Ryuji. Makoto secretly bought the whale charm and another souvenir, giving them to Saki and Ryuji as gifts before parting, acknowledging he often troubled them both. Saki's reaction to the whale wasn't purely happy. Her smile seemed forced. The train ride home was so crowded that Saki and Makoto almost kissed. Makoto blushed, while Saki showed no embarrassment. On the day the grades were released, Saki indeed failed 2 subjects and needed over 80% to pass the makeup exams. She begged Makoto and Ryuji for tutoring, but with Makoto busy with basketball, stern tutor Ryuji took on the task, not quite the tutoring session Saki had hoped for. She imagined a scenario where a handsome senior would explain things gently, getting close. or Makoto encouraging her with rewards and revealing his shirt. Lost in thought, Makoto returned. Seeing Saki lacked motivation, Ryuji suggested a study camp at his place next week while his parents were away. Exciting both Saki and Makoto, Ryuji shared the news with his sister, who was relieved to see his relationship with Makoto improving. Back in his room, Ryuji fantasized about spending the night with Makoto. Disgusted by his own expression on his phone, he now recognized his feelings for Makoto, but couldn't let Makoto find out. Otherwise, their relationship would never be the same. On the weekend, the two met as planned. Saki couldn't resist pinching her cute little sister's cheeks. After studying for a while, Saki and Ryuji started bickering. The sister took the chance to ask Makoto some questions, which made Saki feel threatened, thinking her sister liked Makoto too. She then confessed her feelings for her senior without hesitation. Later, they all made dumplings together. Ryuji and his sister did a great job, and Saki's were cute, but only Makoto's were a mess. Saki declared she would eat all of Makoto's dumplings. When Makoto noticed flour on Saki's face, he wiped it off, making her overjoyed. Today, she wouldn't wash her face. Her sister silently watched their interaction and wondered if Saki truly liked Makoto, suggesting true feelings aren't so easily confessed. She pointed out that Saki's reaction was different from her brother's, revealing she had seen through everything. Meanwhile, Saki took her pajamas to bathe and saw Makoto changing. He apologized instinctively, and she thanked him, then nosebowled and collapsed. Makoto rushed to help, and Saki wanted to touch his face, but Ryuji arrived inconveniently, telling her to be careful while bathing. He then pushed Makoto out and helped him dry his hair. Makoto thanked him, striking right at Ryuji's heart. Before bed, the sister told ghost stories. Ryuji and Saki were unfazed, but Makoto was terrified. He woke up scared in the middle of the night and moved closer to his brother. Finding Ryuji awake, they started whispering. Makoto complained that Ryuji knew he was scared of horror stories but didn't stop them. Ryuji suggested he cuddle with Saki, which Makoto refused since she's a girl, leaving Ryuji feeling even more heartbroken. Early the next morning, Saki crouched next to Makoto, watching him sleep. Ryuji had prepared breakfast for them. Saki then noticed Ryuji wasn't wearing his glasses today. Makoto mentioned that Ryuji didn't wear glasses in elementary school and wasn't sure when his vision began to worsen. Saki wanted to see his old photos and noticed a covered frame nearby. She ran over, uncovered it, and saw a photo of a younger, chubbier Ryuji who had transformed into a handsome man. In the evening, as they saw Saki off, they learned that she lived with her grandmother. Her father was abroad studying Wales. Saki cheerfully said it was okay. Her dad still messaged her, adding that her mom did too. After saying this, she entered the train station. Ryuji hesitated but ultimately did not tell Makoto about what his sister had discovered. Back home, Saki found her grandmother paying respects to her deceased husband. She asked Saki how the training camp with her crush went. Saki excitedly shared various fun stories, then joined her grandmother in honoring her grandfather. She noticed the thread on her grandmother's hairpin was loose. It was a special item given by her grandfather, much like Makoto was special to Saki. She assured her grandmother that she would make Makoto fall for her. After her bath, she found her grandmother still talking to her grandfather, expressing concern that Saki, who disliked nothing, might not truly like anything either. But now, she seemed to be growing up well. Despite her father's absence due to his research and her mother not being around, Saki had matured. She shared various things with her mother, though she only received read receipts in response. Alone in bed that night, Saki stared at a handkerchief, questioning why she didn't feel excited. She tried to convince herself by repeating, "I like Senior Makoto. I like Senior Makoto." After Ryuji and Makoto's persistent pressure, Saki finally passed her makeup exam. Just then, the wind blew through Makoto's hair, and Saki couldn't help but stare, mesmerized. The next second, Makoto sneezed. Ryuji quickly covered his brother's head with his jacket. Saki, without a jacket, was left feeling defeated. Makoto is exceptionally skilled at basketball. His appearance, sweating on the court, was stunning. Saki and Ryuji could hardly contain themselves. Seeing how well Makoto played, the other basketball players quickly became friendly with him and invited him to join the team. Makoto was thrilled, his face radiating happiness. Suddenly, Ryuji asked Saki if she truly liked Makoto. Catching her off guard, she admitted her feelings and asked Ryuji if he liked him too. For the first time, Ryuji opened up about his feelings. He liked Makoto. Saki said she had noticed it a long time ago. However, she wondered why others could not see her feelings for Makoto as clearly. She questioned if she really didn't like Makoto. Tears streaming down her face, she asked Ryuji how she could make her feelings apparent. She had a photo of Makoto in her student handbook and cherished everything he gave her. Yet no one seemed to realize her genuine feelings for him. Without an answer, Saki ran out crying, and Ryuji quickly followed, assuring her he wouldn't pry if she didn't want to talk. He urged her to dry her tears and return. Ryuji went back to handle the situation with Makoto, telling him Saki had gone to the restroom. When Makoto resumed playing, Saki returned, giving Ryuji an embarrassed look, which led to Ryuji teasing her mercilessly. As they bickered, Makoto saw them and thought they might have feelings for each other. Considering that it had been a long time since Saki confessed to him and her recent rejection of his dating proposal, he wondered if they were dating, which would be awkward for him. After the basketball game, Saki praised Makoto for his impressive play. However, Makoto was concerned about her stomach because Ryuji had mentioned she had diarrhea, embarrassing Saki in front of her beloved senior. Seeing the two whispering again, Makoto became even more convinced of his earlier thoughts. After Saki left, he asked Ryuji if he had someone he liked. Ryuji, thinking Makoto knew about his own feelings, turned the question around and asked what Makoto thought of Saki. Makoto quickly clarified that he only liked Saki as a friend, so Ryuji need not worry. Realizing the misunderstanding that he was dating Saki, Ryuji quickly denied it, but admitted he indeed had someone he liked. He pinched Makoto's mouth, telling him the person was someone he knew very well, then ran off. Makoto, being clueless, concluded that Ryuji must like Saki. As the weather grew colder, the trio no longer dared to eat on the rooftop and started looking for empty classrooms instead. Makoto was still troubled, thinking if the two were dating, he would be in the way. He knew people generally wouldn't like someone like him. Eventually, they found an unused classroom. Saki and Ryuji continued to bicker, and Makoto felt out of place. He went alone to apply for the use of the classroom. Unexpectedly, he ran into a basketball club friend who saw Makoto wearing a wig and kindly told him he could wear it during games too. Makoto explained he had decided to only wear the wig at school if it didn't bother others. His friend complimented him on being cool, proving that the effeminate senior was indeed a straight guy magnet. On the other side, Ryuji and Saki were squatting in the empty classroom waiting for Makoto to return. Saki asked Ryuji if he knew the difference between dolphins and whales. In fact, the only difference between these two creatures is their size, and their names change accordingly. After seeing the immense special feeling Ryuji had, Saki realized it was different from her special feeling towards Makoto. She decided to give up and support the two seniors as a junior later on. This revelation made Ryuji start to question whether Saki gave up because he said he liked Makoto or because she didn't like Makoto that much to begin with. Most importantly, even if Saki stepped back, he and Makoto couldn't be together anyway. That evening, Saki stared blankly at her chat box with her mother, which was full of messages left unread. She had been a well-behaved child from a young age, not liking green peppers or carrots. Yet she would swallow them down masked by the taste of meat, forcing herself to like everyone and everything, so that people would always gather around her, even if she wasn't someone's special person. After a friend told Saki not to hang out with another girl, she agreed verbally, but still accepted that girl's group request. When friends said she was two-faced, Saki felt hurt. She liked everyone the same, though she longed to be special. She didn't feel anyone was particularly special. She hoped to get something special from someone who was special. Tears fell on a photo frame with a picture of her and her mother. Later in high school, she met Makoto, who dressed as a girl, and fell in love at first sight, thinking he was her special person and wanting to receive his special attention. Although she didn't expect that the senior was actually a boy, the more she knew about Makoto, the more special he seemed. Saki kept telling herself she liked senior Makoto, but when she told her grandmother about going to a training camp, her grandmother scolded her shamelessly, making her doubt whether her feelings were genuine. Makoto had not been alone with Saki for a long time without realizing it. Today, Ryuji was absent due to a cold, so only Makoto and Saki had lunch together. Saki was already lying on a table in the empty classroom, saying it helped her hear the rain clearly. She invited Makoto to join her, and they both lay there listening to the rain outside. Saki mentioned that Makoto had become more outgoing and was interacting more with others. Therefore, she decided that from today onwards, she would have lunch with her classmates, urging Makoto and Ryuji not to worry about her. She encouraged them to eat with their friends or basketball team members instead. Additionally, Saki planned to stop having feelings for Makoto and promised not to say things that might make him uncomfortable anymore. Makoto instinctively denied ever feeling uncomfortable and reassured her they could still be good friends who hang out. Saki touched Makoto's hair, left him with the words, "I'm glad I could like you," and then left the classroom. Ryuji impulsively told Makoto that he liked someone they both knew and immediately regretted it. Once he got home, he fell ill with a fever. To his surprise, Makoto came to visit him, bringing some jelly and awkwardly mentioned he had something to say. Ryuji became nervous as Makoto brought up the topic of having a crush. Makoto said he thought he knew who it was, then grasped Ryuji's hand, advising him to consider his feelings carefully. Ryuji thought this was encouragement and was about to confess when Makoto said, "I'll be cheering for you guys." Ryuji then realized Makoto still misunderstood his relationship with Saki. After saying this, Makoto left the room, leaving Ryuji feeling miserable. The next day, as Ryuji arrived at class, a classmate handed him a volunteer form since they were sophomores, and it was time to choose their preferences. At lunch, Saki didn't join the older students for a meal, but, being very popular, had many classmates eager to sit with her. Makoto and Ryuji, however, sat in silence. Ryuji took this chance to clarify that he didn't like Saki, but Makoto replied that Saki didn't like him either, recalling Saki's support for the seniors. Ryuji felt mixed emotions and discussed the preference form with Makoto. It was then Makoto reminded him that, having been in the same school all these years, the day to part ways was approaching. That evening, Makoto's father took him for a drive and asked about his preferences for the future. Makoto hadn't decided yet, so his father asked another question he had posed before high school. "Do you want to be a girl?" When Makoto asked how his father would react if he said yes, his father replied that he would naturally look into how to help Makoto be happy and assured him that he would handle things with his mother, so Makoto only needed to think about what he truly wanted. Ryuji is a good student, and his teachers suggest he continue to university. Meanwhile, Makoto is still deciding whether to join the basketball team and whether to identify as male or female. Unexpectedly, he runs into Saki at school. She greets him warmly as usual, while playing with a kitten in the bushes. Charmed by the cute scene, Makoto joins her. He shares his basketball club dilemma with Saki. Joining now would mean leaving in just 6 months, and he's unsure how to decline. He asks if she would join in his place. Saki offers a third option. Why not join when you feel like it? Realizing he can follow his heart, Makoto feels enlightened and resolves his other dilemma. Eventually, both Makoto and Ryuji decide to pursue further education. Makoto informs the basketball club that he won't join, but would like to participate occasionally. The club leader happily agrees, grateful for any match help from Makoto. This resolves the issue smoothly. Ryuji then contemplates which university to attend. Realizing he and Makoto might go to different universities and seldom meet, he overhears classmates discussing confessions to seniors who are graduating soon. Motivated by the idea of possibly never seeing someone again, Ryuji decides to take a chance. He goes home and quickly learns how to confess his feelings, imagining Makoto's reactions: disgust, disdain, or perhaps reciprocation. Lost in thought, he envisions a lifelong, supportive relationship with Makoto, only to be snapped back to reality by his sister. Makoto was watching a TV drama featuring a male character dressed boldly as a girl. He wondered if choosing neither identity was also an option. The next day, Saki's class was busy preparing for the cultural festival booth. On her way to fetch cardboard boxes, she bumped into Makoto. She declined his offer to help, but as he watched her walk away, he decided to help her carry half the load anyway. At the entrance, one of Saki's male classmates came out to meet them and was instantly captivated by Makoto, even though he knew Makoto was a senior. At that moment, Saki realized that Makoto was no longer special to her. Meanwhile, Ryuji was devastated because he drew the worst lot in a draw. The girls were excited, but a sympathetic friend comforted him, saying it was all part of youth. That evening, Saki went to an empty classroom and unexpectedly encountered Ryuji. He immediately grabbed her by the mouth and demanded to know why she hadn't been around lately. Saki evaded the question. Sensing she was troubled, Ryuji told her she could confide in him. Saki changed the subject, asking about his class's activities for the festival and promising to support them. The cultural festival was bustling with preparations, with each class working hard yet achieving great results. Makoto's class was running a takoyaki stand, while Saki's handled a haunted house, where she dressed up as a ghost. Wearing her ghost costume, she went to wait for Makoto, who had just finished his shift and decided to join her. To his surprise, her ghost costume was quite cute, making it hard for him to look directly at her. They then visited Ryuji's class, which was running a maid cafe. No wonder Ryuji was so upset before. Due to a lack of volunteers, some of the boys, including him, had to wear maid outfits. The lot drawn that day decided who would wear the maid outfits. Excited to see their senior in a maid outfit, the younger students asked him to draw hearts with ketchup on their omelet rice, while Saki requested a small bear drawing. Both enjoyed their meals immensely. Soon, it was time for Saki to return to her role as the ghost, so she left, unaware of what she would miss. Just as she left, a call for a substitute came because one of the maids felt unwell. Ryuji quickly volunteered Makoto, who enjoyed the role immensely, drawing in more customers. Indeed, a brother's help is invaluable. That evening, a bonfire party was scheduled at the school, and students gathered at the playground. However, Makoto and Ryuji were delayed because Makoto wanted to wear the maid outfit a bit longer. Ryuji complimented him, saying the outfit suited him well. Later, as Makoto was about to change, he picked up Ryuji's uniform from the table. Unexpectedly, a student handbook fell out, opening to a page with Makoto's photo. Ryuji had kept his photograph in his handbook, instantly setting a charged atmosphere between them. Makoto kindly offered to carry Ryuji's school uniform, but Ryuji's student ID card fell to the ground, flipping open to his photo. The air went quiet for a moment. Ryuji quickly covered it up, having resolved to keep his feelings deeply hidden. Actually, Ryuji had liked Makoto for a long time. They were childhood friends. Makoto often came over to Ryuji's house for meals and sometimes stayed overnight, sharing the same bed. Makoto once told Ryuji that he slept particularly well there. That night, Ryuji couldn't sleep, watching Makoto's sleeping face and feeling a tickle in his heart. After entering middle school, a delinquent in their class got an ear piercing and was scolded by a teacher. Ryuji didn't understand such actions and thought he would never associate with such people. That changed during a school trip when some boys joked that another boy liked Makoto. The boy blushed and said he just thought Makoto was good-looking. They took a group photo with Makoto, all smiling foolishly. Ryuji felt he couldn't become like them and forced a smile to fit in. That night, everyone slept in a large room, and Ryuji found himself unable to sleep again while watching Makoto. Afterward, Ryuji began to care about Makoto inexplicably, leading to a gradual distancing in their relationship. To let these feelings fade, Ryuji decided to attend a high school where he wouldn't see Makoto. Unexpectedly, he encountered Makoto in female attire at the new school. Makoto quickly covered Ryuji's mouth and pulled him behind a building, asking him not to reveal that he was a boy. For various reasons, everyone at this school thought Makoto was a girl. Although Ryuji didn't understand why, he wouldn't expose him. Despite wanting to keep a distance, Ryuji found his gaze involuntarily following Makoto and even researched topics related to being gay. The next day at school, rumors spread that Makoto was actually a boy, with a crowd gathered at the classroom door pointing fingers at him. Makoto silently left for an empty classroom. When Ryuji caught up, Makoto asked him not to come any closer, or he would also be subjected to strange looks. However, in his heart, Ryuji thought that since Makoto had become such a unique individual, he would stand by him. He pierced his own ear and started to approach Makoto. The rooftop became their secret base. Soon after, Makoto even wore a wig, since everyone already knew he was a boy. He stopped caring about others' stares and focused solely on what he wanted to do. Time passed, and one of Ryuji's male classmates got hold of Makoto's photo and made disrespectful comments, offering to distribute more copies. Enraged, Ryuji punched him and started a fight, which didn't end until a teacher intervened. Both of their parents were called in. Later, Ryuji picked up the photo from the trash and hid it in his student ID card holder. Makoto seemed unaware and continued talking to Ryuji as usual before leaving the classroom to join the bonfire party with classmates. After he left, Ryuji felt a weight lifted off him, recalling everything that had happened. He thought it was over, but Makoto's behavior became increasingly strange. Seeing Makoto without a scarf, Ryuji offered his own, but Makoto blushed and declined. Throughout the day, Makoto's gaze involuntarily followed Ryuji. After school, while staying for duty, Makoto couldn't help but ask a friend what it meant if someone kept a photo in their student ID card. The girl answered without hesitation. It must mean he likes him, but probably doesn't want him to know. She then curiously asked if Makoto liked that friend. Flustered, Makoto denied it, but internally confirmed the answer. When Ryuji finished his duties and came to pick him up, intending to walk home together, Makoto said he had to attend a basketball club activity. As Ryuji tried to brush some dust off Makoto's hair, Makoto instinctively dodged. In that moment, Ryuji understood. Makoto must have seen the photo, as he had always been watching Makoto. How could he not know if he had lied? Thus, Ryuji no longer hid his feelings and openly confessed, "I like you." Makoto also recalled all the moments he had spent with Ryuji, but instinctively apologized, thinking Ryuji saw him as a girl because of his appearance, and blamed himself for any misunderstandings. However, voicing such thoughts would only hurt Ryuji by trivializing his genuine feelings, making him feel burdensome. After speaking, Ryuji walked away, not stopping despite Makoto's attempts to hold him back. Makoto realized things could never return to how they were before. Back at home, Makoto reflected on the day's events. Ryuji had never judged him for his rebellious actions, and Makoto did not want to lose such a friend. He resolved to find Ryuji at his home but learned he had already left. At school, classmates mentioned Ryuji hadn't attended because he had skipped to go to the beach. There, criticizing himself humorously for acting like a melodramatic youth, he uncontrollably wrote Makoto's name in the sand, only for the waves to erase it immediately. Ryuji then walked to the train tracks, where an approaching train neared. Fortunately, Makoto rushed to pull him back, immediately confessing he didn't want things to continue this way, and asked to be in a relationship with Ryuji. Ryuji, momentarily stunned, realized what Makoto said, and was more than willing to agree. Meanwhile, Saki was called out by a teacher due to a family emergency involving her grandmother. While Makoto and Ryuji were affirming their relationship, Saki quickly packed her things and passed by Makoto, who had returned early to school, without noticing him.